Despite a lack of subpoena power and cooperation from village workers, Lori Lightfoot says her investigation uncovered a pattern of mismanagement and deception by Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
The former mayor of Chicago, standing before the gathered residents of Dolton, delivered her findings with a sense of urgency. Addressing a crowd that was both exhausted and filled with frustration, the room was charged with a palpable tension as the community, already weary from the challenges they had faced, now had to process the weight of the information being presented. Anger simmered beneath the surface as the mayor spoke, acknowledging their struggles while outlining the results of the investigation. Her words were a mix of acknowledgement and a call to action, attempting to both soothe the discontent and rally the residents toward the next steps. The atmosphere was thick with a desire for change, but also with the understanding that finding real solutions would require more than just talk. It would require real, tangible results. Lori Lightfoot, who now works as a private consultant, was hired by the Dolton trustees last April to investigate claims of potential misuse of public funds by Mayor Henyard. The trustees sought her expertise after concerns surfaced regarding the management and allocation of taxpayer money under Henyard's leadership. Lightfoot, leveraging her extensive experience in public administration, was tasked with conducting a thorough probe into the allegations, aiming to uncover any financial discrepancies or misconduct that may have occurred during the mayor's tenure. Her findings, eagerly anticipated by the community, have now become a focal point of the ongoing controversy.
There's no inventory control system within the village, so we have no idea what happened once the things arrived.
In a recent update regarding her investigation into the alleged misuse of public funds by Dolton Mayor Henyard, former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, now working as a private consultant, revealed more details about a controversial Amazon purchase. Last summer, Lightfoot had first brought attention to the discovery of $43,000 in Amazon purchases made in a single day in 2023, sparking widespread concerns about potential misuse of public money. However, in a more detailed explanation of the purchase, Lightfoot clarified that the funds were used to acquire supplies for an ice rink that had been delivered directly to the village. According to Lightfoot, the ice rink supplies were part of a larger initiative intended to bring recreational facilities to Dolton, aimed at providing residents with additional leisure activities and community engagement opportunities. The mayor's office had supposedly authorized the purchase, believing that the investment in the ice rink would be a worthwhile addition to the local amenities, especially during the colder months when outdoor sports and ice skating could draw families and tourists to the area. The purchase, however, raised eyebrows due to its significant cost, particularly given the village's financial constraints. The $43,000 worth of supplies, Lightfoot explained, included various equipment necessary to set up and maintain the rink, such as ice resurfacing machines, boards, and refrigeration units. These items were ordered from Amazon, a platform frequently used by municipalities for its convenience and vast selection. Lightfoot's investigation into the purchase sought to verify whether these expenses were appropriately authorized and whether the items purchased were genuinely needed, or if the funds were misdirected in some way. While Lightfoot acknowledged that the purchase could be justified in terms of the intended purpose, she also pointed out that the size and scope of such a purchase raised legitimate questions, with some residents questioning whether the community truly needed such an investment, especially considering Dolton's tight budget. The investigation aimed to ensure that proper procedures had been followed in making such a large expenditure. At the heart of the investigation was the transparency, or lack thereof, surrounding the purchase. Critics had argued that the purchase was made without sufficient public oversight, suggesting that it could be an example of wasteful spending. Others speculated that the timing of the transaction, in the context of ongoing budget issues and fiscal uncertainty in the village, was problematic. The disclosure of the Amazon purchase, now clarified by Lightfoot, came at a time when tensions in Dolton were running high over the management of public funds. Many residents had grown disillusioned with Mayor Henyard's leadership, and the allegations of financial mismanagement were fueling further discontent. The former mayor's investigation was seen as a step toward greater accountability, though it remained to be seen whether the ice rink purchase was truly a legitimate use of taxpayer dollars or an example of questionable decision-making. Lightfoot's continued work as an independent consultant allowed her to pursue the investigation free from the political pressures of office ensuring a more impartial assessment. Her findings, while offering some clarity regarding the ice rink purchase, have yet to fully address the broader concerns about the overall financial practices of Mayor Henyard's administration. For many in Dolton, the investigation remains a critical point of interest as they seek answers about how their public funds were spent and what steps will be taken moving forward to prevent further misuse. During the meeting, several residents and multiple trustees raised concerns about the ice rink on Greenwood Road, which was completed in 2023. They pointed out that, despite its existence, the public has had no regular access to the rink. Many expressed frustration over the lack of transparency and the seeming disconnect between the investment in the rink and the actual benefit to the community. The ice rink, which had been touted as a new recreational facility for local residents, was not being made available for public use on a consistent basis, leaving many questioning whether the funds spent on its construction were truly being put to good use. The situation has sparked growing dissatisfaction among the community, with residents demanding clarity on why they are being excluded from accessing a facility they believe would serve them. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has raised significant concerns regarding a series of troubling practices she alleges to be occurring within a local village's governance. According to Lightfoot, the village in question has repeatedly circumvented established city policies, leading to concerns about fiscal responsibility, transparency, and legal compliance. She outlined several specific areas where the village has fallen short, including its failure to obtain necessary trustee approval for purchases exceeding $5,000, a failure to comply with Freedom of Information Act (FOIA) requests, and the absence of a staff accountant to ensure proper financial oversight. One of the most serious allegations involves the village's handling of its financial operations, particularly regarding procurement practices. In accordance with city policies, any expenditure over $5,000 must receive prior approval from the village's Board of Trustees. However, Lightfoot claims that the village has consistently ignored this requirement, making significant purchases without the mandated authorization. This pattern of behavior raises questions about the internal controls and governance structures in place to prevent misuse of public funds. Further compounding concerns, Lightfoot emphasized the village's consistent failure to comply with FOIA requests, which are critical to maintaining transparency and public trust in government activities. The Freedom of Information Act is designed to ensure that government operations remain open to scrutiny by the public, allowing citizens to access information about how taxpayer dollars are being spent and how decisions are being made. By failing to honor these requests, the village is not only in violation of legal obligations, but is also undermining the transparency that is essential to democratic governance. Moreover, Lightfoot pointed out the lack of a staff accountant within the village's government, a position she argues is essential for maintaining proper financial oversight. Without an experienced accountant on staff, there is an increased risk of financial mismanagement and an inability to properly track and manage public funds. The absence of this role raises serious questions about the village's ability to effectively manage its finances and ensure that taxpayer money is being used appropriately and efficiently. Another critical issue highlighted by Lightfoot relates to the village's struggles to maintain its insurance policies due to late or non-payment of premiums. Insurance coverage is vital for protecting both the village and its residents from a range of potential risks, including liability, property damage, and other unforeseen events. By failing to keep its insurance policies current, the village exposes itself to significant financial and legal risks, which would ultimately place a burden on taxpayers if the village is forced to cover these costs out of pocket. These issues combined present a concerning picture of a local government struggling with basic financial management and transparency. Mayor Lightfoot's allegations point to a larger problem of governance within the village, where necessary procedures and policies are being overlooked, potentially leading to financial instability and a lack of accountability. In light of these concerns, it remains to be seen what actions will be taken to address the situation and restore confidence in the village's ability to effectively manage its affairs. At the core of Lightfoot's critique is a fundamental issue of accountability. Without a system of checks and balances, there is a heightened risk of mismanagement and corruption. The lack of transparency, coupled with the absence of necessary oversight mechanisms, can create an environment where public officials are free to make decisions without fear of scrutiny or consequence. This not only undermines the public's trust in government, but also erodes the very foundations of good governance. As this situation continues to unfold, Lightfoot's allegations serve as a stark reminder of the importance of adherence to policies, laws, and best practices in local government. For communities to thrive, their leaders must act with integrity, uphold their legal obligations, and prioritize the welfare of their residents. Only by restoring proper oversight and accountability can the village hope to regain the public's trust and ensure that its financial and administrative systems are functioning in a responsible and transparent manner.